You are created unique. Certainly, your efforts and deeds are diverse, different in aims and purposes. Angelo Botero wrote 13 books and thousands of articles related to the topic of child education. He once wrote, "There is none more miserable than the one who grows up not being himself, who grows up imitating others in appearance and thought. He sends down water rain from the sky, and the valleys flow according to their measure." Every person has his own idiosyncrasies, talents, and abilities, so no one should fuse his personality into that of another. Undoubtedly, you have been created with restricted means and abilities that will help you to accomplish very specific and limited goals. It has been wisely put, read yourself and know yourself. You will then know your mission in life. Emerson said in his essay on self-reliance, "The time will come when the knowledge of man will reach the level where his faith will be that jealousy is ignorance, and imitation is suicide, and one will accept his own self as he is, no matter what the circumstances, because this is his lot. Also, despite the fact that the world is filled with good things, one will not accomplish anything until he plants and cares for the land that was given to him. Hidden strengths that are inside of him are new to the world, and he does not know the extent of his abilities until he tries. And say, O Muhammad, do deeds, Allah will see your deeds, and so will his messenger and the believer. Contemplate these verses. Say, O my slaves, who have transgressed against themselves by committing evil deeds and sins, despair not of the mercy of Allah. Verily, Allah forgives all sins. Truly, He is oft forgiving, most merciful. And those who when they have committed fahisha, illegal sexual intercourse, or wrong themselves with evil, remember Allah and ask forgiveness for their sins. And none can forgive sins but Allah, and do not persist in what wrong they have done, while they know. And whoever does evil or wrongs himself, but afterwards seeks Allah's forgiveness, he will find Allah oft forgiving, most merciful. And when my slaves ask you, O Muhammad, concerning me, then answer them, I am indeed near to them by my knowledge. I respond to the invocations of the supplicant when he calls on me, without any mediator or intercessor. So let them obey me and believe in me, so that they may be led aright. Is not he better than your gods, who responds to the distressed one when he calls him, and who removes the evil and makes you inheritors of the earth, generations after generations? Is there any illah God with Allah? Little is that you remember. Those believers unto whom the people hypocrites said, Verily, the people pagans have gathered against you. A great army, therefore fear them. But it only increased them in faith. And they said, Allah alone is sufficient for us, and He is the best disposer of affairs for us. So they returned with grace and bounty from Allah. No harm touched them, and they followed the good pleasure of Allah, and Allah is the owner of great bounty. And my affair I leave it to Allah. Verily, Allah is the all-seer of His slaves. So Allah saved him from the evils that they plotted against him. Much that in appearance is harmful is in fact a blessing. Our handicaps help us to an extent that we never expected. If Dostoevsky and Tolstoy had not lived painful lives, they would not have been capable of writing their ageless journals. So being an orphan, blind, poor, or away from home and comfort are all conditions that may lead you to accomplishment and distinction, to advancement and contribution. A poet said, Allah can bestow His blessings through trials that are small or large, and He puts some to trial by giving them of His blessings. Even children and wealth can be the cause of misery. So let not their wealth or their children amaze you. O Muhammad, in reality, Allah's plan is to punish them with these things in the life of this world. Upon becoming crippled, Ibn Athir was afforded the opportunity to complete his two famous books, wrote his acclaimed book, all 15 volumes of it, while being imprisoned at the bottom of a well. On a riding animal, wrote a commentary on Sahih Muslim, while travelling on a boat. Most of Ibn Taymiyyah's was written while he was in jail. The scholars of Hadith gathered hundreds and thousands of hadiths. These were people that were poor, people that were strangers to the world. Home and righteous person informed me that he was imprisoned for a while, and during the period of his